This is the Sixth Kin. Sixth Kin is a criminal organization based in Canto Bight's Workers' District. While considered small-time by galactic standards, Sixth Kin holds a lot of power in the Workers' District. Operating from the nightclub Club Tarsus, they make money by smuggling exotic animal, staging fights and races, and selling counterfeit luxury goods. While some avoid dealing with Sixth Kin due to their bad reputation, many have no choice but to give them their dues. This is the Pyke Syndicate. The Pykes are an old and wealthy syndicate that values tradition and status. Their spice mining operation on Kessel is further complemented with coaxium, smuggling, and black market distribution. The Pykes are spread out across the galaxy and are involved in every possible criminal enterprise. Their operation is incredibly well funded, with starfighters, freighters, and advanced weaponry of every kind. They are a dangerous enemy and powerful ally. This is the Zerek Besh. Zerek Besh is a new crime syndicate in the galactic underworld. Led by the wealthy Canto Bight socialite Sliro, the syndicate has had immense success undercutting the competition, disposing of enemies, and establishing lucrative smuggling routes. With expertly trained enforcers and suspiciously deep pockets, Zerek Besh is involved in a variety of illegal activities, such as smuggling, extortion, and gambling. This is the Crimson Dawn. Crimson Dawn recently emerged from relative obscurity under the new leadership of Lady Kira. Crimson Dawn is incredibly evasive, avoiding direct confrontation with rival syndicates in favor of political schemes, espionage, and assassinations. Everything that Crimson Dawn does serves a higher secret agenda, with some believing that they have deliberately orchestrated a syndicate war between their rivals for their own ends. This is the Hutt Cartel. The Hutt Cartel is an ancient criminal organization with an abundance of wealth and power. While the cartel has traditionally been ruled by a council of Hutts, recent developments have led to Jabba The Hutt becoming the single most powerful crime lord in the cartel. The Hutt Cartel is debauched and ruthless, relying on brute force and intimidation to seize power and defeat their enemies. This is the Ashiga Clan. The Ashiga Clan is a reclusive crime syndicate from Kijimi, centered around a hive of Melito. Ruled by the singular authority of their queen, the Ashiga act as a single, indivisible unit, which has helped them outlast many challenges in Kijimi's criminal underworld. However, following the queen's decision to expand to other systems and sell off resources to the Empire, the once intact hive is now suffering internal turmoil. This is the Galactic Empire. The Galactic Empire was formed in the aftermath of the Clone Wars. Ruled from Coruscant under Emperor Palpatine, the Empire occupies major systems in the galaxy and is engaged in a violent civil war against a widespread rebellion. The Empire is terrible for business for outlaws, and they will go to great lengths to hunt down and punish criminals. This is the Rebel Alliance. The Rebel Alliance is a resistance movement engaged in a civil war against the Galactic Empire. Following a major win with the destruction of the Death Star, the rebels are now on the back foot after a devastating defeat on Hoth. Now the rebel fleet is scattered and hidden, and rebel agents attempt to regroup to pick up the fight once again against the Empire. This is K. Vess. K. Vess is a young thief from Canto Bight's Workers' District who's running out of marks. Together with her pet and partner in crime, a Mercal named Nyx, Kay is looking for a big score to get them set for life. Ever since she was left behind by her mother, Kay has rented a room from a bar owner named Bram, who is the closest to family she has left. This is Nyx. Nyx is a Mercal who has been K. Vess's best friend and loyal partner in crime since she was a kid. Nyx's background and home planet are unknown, but he is immensely loyal to Kay and will never leave her side. Together, Kay and Nyx have made Canto Bight their prowling grounds, and Nyx's innate abilities of climbing, jumping, and sensing danger has been a perfect complement to Kay. This is Riko Vess. Riko Vess is Kay's mother and a talented thief and slicer. Riko raised Kay in the Workers' District in Canto Bight and taught her daughter everything from slicing to lockpicking and grifting, with Riko seeing no other choice to survive in the unforgiving Workers' District. At some point, Riko decided to leave Kay behind, and her whereabouts since then are unknown.
Hey, Kay.
This is Bram Shano. Bram is the owner of the Broken Hoof in Canto Bight's Workers' District and has looked after Kay for years with free meals and an attic to sleep in. Aside from bartending, Bram is also a broker for illegal jobs, finding work for Kay as well as other thieves and grifters. Despite his gruff exterior, he deeply cares for Kay and wants her to learn from her own mistakes. This is Asara Deyn. Asara realized early that he could read people and talk himself out of anything. Asara idolized his sister Kalis, and as she organized a burgeoning rebel cell, Asara helped by spying on Imperial patrols. When Kalis said she wanted them to leave and join the fight among the stars, Asara was scared and told their parents. Kalis slipped away in the night and died in battle, leaving Asara feeling immense guilt. This is Vail Tormin. Vail is a bounty hunter who was raised by a syndicate enforcer and a pirate who taught her that looking out for number one is the only true law of the galaxy. As soon as she was old enough, she set off to make a name for herself as a bounty hunter. After losing part of her hand to an assassin, Vail installed cybernetic prosthetics to become even more dangerous. This is ND5. ND5 is a BX commando droid from the Clone Wars who works as a personal enforcer droid for the crime lord Jaylen Vrax. ND5 hides some of the damage with a large trench coat and tends to avoid talking about his past. He is forced to work with Jaylen due to an intrusive restraining bolt, but he has come to accept that he is a mere tool to be used. This is Jaylen Vrax. Jaylen Vrax is a crime lord who has been running heists and smuggling rings for years across the whole Outer Rim, always staying independent of the major crime syndicates. A charming and clever outlaw, Jaylen is well connected and is used to getting people on his side. He is typically accompanied by his personal enforcer droid ND5, who he trusts more than anything due to the custom-made restraining bolt. This is Ank Parako. Ank always had an aptitude for chemistry and a taste for danger, spending decades moving on to bigger and bigger jobs with her husband Pyrup. Their final job together was breaking into a Black Sun vault, which would have been a success if Pyrup's heart didn't give out during the robbery. Now Ank has accrued immense debts to the Ashiga Clan, without her former partner in crime by her side. This is Gedeek Obaz. Raised in Canto Bight's workers' district, Gedeek's criminal career started by modifying mouse droids to steal for him. When he was a teenager, he became fast friends with Riko Vess, and the pair made some decent credits grifting together. When a casino scam became too successful and attracted the attention of the Canto Bight police, Gedeek had no choice but to enlist in the Empire and leave Canto Bight behind. This is Denian. Denian is a rebel spy who was conscripted by Imperial security to fight insurgents on their homeworld. Denian tried to convince everyone that they had to conform to survive, but that changed when they found themselves standing over the bodies of friends who had taken up arms against the Empire. Denian switched sides, and although they are filled with regrets, they are now seeing a freedom they couldn't imagine. This is Waka. Waka is a mechanic and scavenger on Toshara. He has dreamed his whole life of greatness, wealth, comfort, and power, but he was never a fan of the whole hard work thing. A self-interested mechanic with big ambitions but not a lot of foresight, Waka leaves behind a trail of failed grifts and burned former allies, giving him a reputation as unreliable. This is Gorak Palas. Gorak is a Pyke crime lord who established the Pykes as the most powerful syndicate on Toshara. He surrounds himself with fineries and spends lavishly wherever he goes. With the governor of Mirogana on his payroll, Gorak knows the importance of social manipulation, well aware that the perception of wealth and power are just as important as actually having them. This is Bosnok. Bosnok always had a knack for numbers, spending the greater part of his life drifting through the galaxy doing quick jobs that paid fast. He became proficient at counting cards in Sabak, but eventually picked the wrong table and was quickly arrested. Governor Thornton saw great use of Bosnok's abilities, and instead of a prison cell offered him a job managing records of the Empire's shady dealings on Toshara. This is Danka Orsato. Danka is an independent broker on Toshara who's working with the toughest syndicates in the galaxy. Gruff but likable, tough but fair, Danka's carved out a place for herself in the underworld. After getting tangled up in some bad deals on Mon Cala at a young age, Danka fled her home and landed on Toshara with nothing, building an empire of her own using nothing but her wits and confidence. This is Eleera Soi. Eleera is a senior member of the Crimson Dawn Syndicate, focused on leading their operation on Toshara to collect intel, find recruits, and undermine the Pykes. Knowing Kira personally, she has earned a great degree of trust to carry out her work as she sees fit. Eleera has never been interested in leading, preferring instead to stay in the shadows so she can slip away if things get too complicated. This is Lady Kira. Kira grew up as a scrum rat in Corellia's criminal underworld. After working for Crimson Dawn and their leader Dryden Voss, Kira eventually climbed her way up to the top as the new leader of the syndicate. While Crimson Dawn was assumed gone for years, they have recently resurfaced as a powerful player in the galactic underworld, with Kira leading the syndicate with poise, intelligence, and determination. This is Queen Ashiga. Queen Ashiga has ruled the Ashiga clan for generations, admired for holding back the empire from Kijimi. At the breakout of the civil war, the queen finally gave in to imperial pressure, giving them access to Kijimi's Rhydonium mines in exchange of weapons contracts. The queen's concessions have become widely criticized, making her distraught and vengeful to the point where a coup is building up in the clan's own ranks. This is Krisk Ashiga. Krisk Ashiga is the heir to the Ashiga clan's throne. Krisk has always known that her time would come to take over the clan, but as the queen's grip on both the clan and Kijimi is faltering, Krisk believes she must expedite the process and turn on her mother. Krisk is pragmatic and dutiful and a firm believer that the hive's interest supersedes everything. This is Hoss. Hoss is an outlaw legend, known for his wild gambling, his collection of powerful weapons, and risk-taking. But Hoss didn't know when to stop. In one bad game, Hoss lost everything, more than everything. As he left the game massively in debt with no ship, no crew, and no way out, he wandered into the dunes looking for anyone he could trick into handing over their credits. This is Jabba the Hutt. Jabba the Hutt is one of the galaxy's most powerful gangsters, with far-reaching influence in both politics and the criminal underworld. Jabba rules his syndicate from his palace on Tatooine, where he holds both the underworld and the local economy in his grip. Jabba is famous for his decadence and ruthlessness, and he keeps a menagerie of wild beasts in his palace as a show of power. This is Bib Fortuna. Bib Fortuna is the major domo to Jabba the Hutt and takes care of business around the palace and acts as Jabba's chief advisor. Even though Bib has been at Jabba's side for as long as anyone can remember, he is at heart a selfish and manipulative person. Some suspect that Bib is just biding his time, waiting for the right opportunity to betray Jabba and take over his syndicate. This is Surat Nuat. Surat is a vicious crime boss who notoriously murdered his own parents and keeps his own brother frozen in carbonite in his office. Surat has recently established close ties with the Hutt Cartel, causing him and his gang of henchmen to become an extended arm of the Hutt's business on Akiva. Surat is the owner of the Alcazar in Mira, a popular cantina among outlaws and fugitives. This is Quint Cresadde. Quint Cresadde is a former pirate who worked with the notorious pirate Guarm. While she had immense success as a pirate, especially thanks to her gunslinger skills, Quint eventually realized that the lifestyle had made her a heartless person. Buying her way out from the gang, Quint returned home to Wayfar on Tatooine, putting her skills to better use to help the locals, earning their trust to become their sheriff. This is Selo Rovak. Selo Rovak is a young native to Sharon. She was raised in a wind fishing settlement, always dreaming of a different life. But she couldn't leave her family behind. She decided that if she couldn't change the galaxy, maybe she could change Toshara. So she spent her time creating gadgets that would streamline wind fishing, devices that took advantage of the strength of Toshara's wind. This is Aila Bren. Aila Bren is a slicer and computer expert who has made a living freelancing for the syndicates on Toshara. She became well known around Miragana for being fast, efficient, and most of all discreet. But seeing Toshara fall victim to the Empire and the rival syndicates has made Aila want to start fresh off-world, seeking new opportunities in the greater galaxy. This is Rooster Trace. Rooster's been in the mercenary game for longer than anyone else in the mid-rim, and a hired gun doesn't survive multiple wars and regime changes without being pretty damn tough and very damn mean. Some mercs like to pretend that the job is purely business, that feelings don't enter into it. As far as Rooster's concerned, they're kidding themselves. This is Temmin Wexley. Temmin Wexley is an Akiva boy whose father was arrested by Imperial forces for carrying messages for the Rebel Alliance. Temmin was left on Akiva by his mother Nora, who joined the rebels as a transport pilot. While he was left in the care of his aunt Asmel and her partner, Temmin has insisted on living alone in his family home, scavenging droid parts and working on various projects. This is Lando Calrissian. Lando Calrissian is a gambler, smuggler, and former Baron administrator of a Tabana gas colony on Bespin. After losing the colony to an Imperial occupation, Lando's chief concern has been around rescuing his friend Han Solo, who is frozen in carbonite and put on display in Jabba's palace on Tatooine. Rumor has it that Lando is getting a bit too familiar with the Rebel Alliance lately. This is Sliro Ruback. Sliro is a crime lord and leader of the Zerek Besh crime syndicate, which he runs from a palace in Canto Bight. Sliro is often seen mingling with the rich and powerful in the city's casino district, using both charm and intimidation to gain their favor. While he and Zerek Besh are widely known in the underworld, Sliro has always managed to stay influential among Canto Bight's elite. This is MT7. MT-7 is a BX commando droid from the Clone Wars, but unlike ND-5, he never saw much action. His very first mission was to travel to Akiva with a squad of B-1 droids and find the crashed ship of a high-ranking separatist officer, but disaster struck almost immediately. He was severely damaged in one of the planet's legendary torrential downpours and separated from the rest of his crew.
May I speak freely, sir?
Go ahead.
I am broken.
Yes. You've been in the field a long time.
Will you take my decoder module to keep it from the enemy?
I will. MT-7, I order you to stand down.
Thank you, sir.
This is Tika. Tika is a Jawa scavenger, mechanic, and trader who works with her tribe around various settlements on Tatooine. She has a wide reputation for being a shrewd and clever entrepreneur who can sell almost anything at a markup, earning the tribe great profits. More importantly, Tika is a skillful mechanic who can handle almost any type of vehicle or machine with great results. This is Cantonica. Cantonica is a desert planet in the corporate sector and home to the casino city Canto Bight. Canto Bight is exclusive and expensive, drawing wealthy visitors from every corner of the galaxy to enjoy the finest recreation and entertainment available. On the southern stretch of the city lies the Workers' District, home to the city's workers as well as opportunists looking to exploit the city's abundance of wealth. This is Toshara. Toshara is a dangerous savanna moon shaped by strong winds. Once home to the reclusive Tosharan people, the moon has become a hotbed of corruption, ruled by a crooked imperial governor and several criminal syndicates locked in a perpetual gang war. Everything on Toshara is measured in its value of credits, reputation, or influence, providing an abundance of opportunities and dangers for ambitious scoundrels. This is Tatooine. Tatooine is a barren desert planet in the Outer Rim territories with a binary sun system that exposes the planet for immense temperatures and drafts. The planet is frequented by smugglers and other outlaws looking to lie low or find jobs. The planet is host to several local groups, such as Jawas and Tusken, and is under heavy influence by the crime lord Jabba the Hutt. This is Kijimi. Kijimi is a cold, terrestrial planet with thick drifts of snow covering its many mountains. While the planet lacks a centralized government, the Ashiga Clan crime syndicate holds immense influence over the planet's population and resources. While the Empire has typically left Kijimi alone, recent negotiations between the Ashiga and the Empire has led to an increased presence of Imperial troopers. This is Akiva. Akiva is a hot and humid planet in the Outer Rim territories, famous for its heavy rainstorms. While the planet is under Imperial control, they rule it indirectly via the Akivan satrapy and only visit during the decennial tax audits. Because of the Empire's general absence and the planet's history of separatist droid production, Akiva is festered with corruption and a thriving black market. This is Robuma. Robumas are mammal herbivores that were domesticated when the first refugees landed on Toshara. They are herd animals by instinct, and wild herds of Robumas can still be found roaming the savanna. Most Tosharan farmers will have them released in grazing territories as well, using speeders and droids to move them. Robumas are essential to Tosharan culture, with their milk, meat, and leather commonly used in various ways. This is Ronga Bug. Ronga bugs are small insects with light-emitting organs that allow them to locate each other in darkness and can mostly be found outside of Toshara's settlements. Ronga bugs are traditionally considered to bring good fortune if they land in someone's hand, and many Tosharan fairy tales and folk stories revolve around receiving advice or wishes from magical Ronga bugs. This is Aglis Flyer. Aglis Flyers, or just Flyers as they're often known colloquially by Tosharans, are winged creatures that are popular for their delicious meat. The Aglis Flyers are notorious for stealing anything they can get their hands on, hoarding belongings in remote nests. Even though they are both agile and have highly developed senses of sight, the Tosharan wind fishing nets are very effective in capturing them. This is Yubesho Rat. Yubesho rats are some of the most despised pests on Toshara, outnumbering sentient beings in Miragana at least tenfold. They are evasive, aggressive, and will dig through dirt, wood, and even metal with little effort to get a hold of food. While they are nearly blind due to living mostly underground, their heightened sense of smell lets them seek out food from great distances. This is Gushiro. Gushiros are small and evasive mammals native to Toshara. They have long and slender bodies covered in dense fur. They mostly move around shrublands hunting for insects or smaller rodents, but they can also be seen in settlements, eating garbage or leftovers. Many cantina and restaurants have to have strict sanitation rules to ward off Gushiro, as they are known to break into garbage containers. This is Kama bird. Kama birds are large birds with wide wingspans that can be found around open savannas on Toshara. The birds are predatory and will actively seek out Robuma calves as their preferred prey, circling around herds for long stretches of time before striking. Many Robuma farmers will fire blasters at the near sight of a Kama bird, and even wild Robumas have learned to keep their calves protected from aerial strikes. This is Apono Moth. Apono moths are insects native to Toshara that have developed strong wings that allow them to stay airborne despite the moon's harsh winds. The Apono's wings are covered in vibrant and changing colors, which they use to communicate with each other. Their fat bodies and tendency to stay at low altitudes have made them a primary target for Gushiros. This is Viraki. The Viraki are fierce predators native to Toshara that typically feed off smaller animals. Many Tosharan farmers have had to make special precautions to protect grazing Robumas from Viraki attacks. While this hard stance against Viraki has reduced their population significantly, remaining Viraki have adapted and become exceedingly clever. They have excellent senses of smell, and their hardened tails can release sharp quills when threatened. This is Sligo. Sligals are a soft-bodied invertebrates with gelatinous skin that can be found in Toshara's orbit. They feed off energy supplies from starships and satellites powered with energy cells, with dormant sublight engines being able to sustain hundreds of Sligals for multiple cycles. Expired Sligals will vaporize and scatter into a surge of bubbles before fading, and will typically release bursts of energy on contact. This is Bantha. Banthas are large, hairy mammals with spiraling horns that are often used as domesticated herd animals. Banthas are omnivores and can sustain energy without food or water for long stretches of time. Many farmers use banthas for their milk, meat, and leather. This is Dubak. Dubaks are large, thick-skinned reptiles that are native to Tatooine. Their ability to be trained and domesticated, as well as their innate resilience and durability, have led to them being used as mounts by both locals on Tatooine as well as Imperial troopers. This is Dust Rat. Dust rats are common rats that can be found across all of Tatooine settlements. Relying entirely off leftovers and trash from people, the dust rats are widely considered pests that can severely damage farms and houses. This is Skedo. Skedos are nocturnal blood-sucking flying reptiles that can be found in caverns on Tatooine. While they mostly feed off smaller insects, they are also known for latching onto larger creatures like banthas and dubaks, extracting nutritious blood from them overnight. This is Krayt Dragon. Krayt dragons are massive serpent-like creatures that roam around the desert of Tatooine. While they are known for occasionally attacking settlements, they are primarily a threat to travelers out in the sand dunes. This is Flyhorn Lizard. Flyhorn lizards are solitary creatures that live out in the desert, using their tails and horns to catch condensation and smaller insects while staying cool in the sand. Some moisture farmers have a habit of observing flyhorns near their farms to evaluate their yields. This is Bone Gnawer. Bone gnawers are large birds of prey native to Tatooine with strong beaks that can crush rocks and bones. They are known for stalking relatively large prey and consuming them on the spot, taking the bones back to their nests to feed off the marrow and share it with their young. This is Scurrier. Scurriers are small and skittish rodents that nest in the wilds on Tatooine but can often be found around settlements as well. They usually travel in groups and will often scatter at the slightest threat, with even their names coming from their swift and nervous movements. This is Massif. Massifs are reptilian predators that can be found on Tatooine, where they are sometimes domesticated by Tusken or other locals to be used as guard creatures. Massifs have thick and durable hides, as well as sharp teeth and strong jaws, making them very dangerous to most organic beings. Their eyes are well adapted to the dark, and they will often use this to their advantage when hunting prey at night. This is Nobaki Rat. Nobaki rats are small rat-like creatures that can be found everywhere in Kijimi City. Like rats on many other worlds, the Nobaki live off whatever trash and leftovers people leave behind, and they are considered a pest. The Nobaki are still very popular among children, which has led to some people keeping tame Nobaki as pets. This is Henku. Henku are large, warm-blooded mammals with thick skins and fur that make them ideal cattle for cold worlds like Kijimi. The Henku are believed to share a common ancestry with banthas, and they are also used for their milk, meat, and leather. Fishers on Kijimi will often use Henku as beasts of burden to transport goods between lakes and settlements. This is Kumo Rabbit. Kumo rabbits are small mammals that are resilient survivors in the harsh climate on Kijimi. The Kumo's sensitive ears, long nose, and high agility make them fully aware of threats in their surroundings, and they will either run or dig into the snow to hide. This is Valarak. Valaraks are nomadic birds with exceptional vision that allows them to hunt prey at great distances. Their wing serrations allow them to fly quietly, making them virtually silent right before striking at prey. While Valaraks will often move around Kijimi in search of warmer climates, they can often be found around thermal wells while migrating. This is Venga. Venga are amphibians on Akiva that can mostly be found in the wetlands, even though they will migrate to other areas in search for food, particularly during rain seasons. They are opportunistic predators who will stalk and ambush their prey, and their enhanced senses can make light of almost any type of natural camouflage. This is Samado bird. Samado birds are freshwater birds that live near large bodies of water. Their skin is covered in scales, and they have large webbings on their feet, which makes the Samado birds excellent swimmers and divers. This is Shaparak. Shaparaks are robust insects with expressive patterns on their wings to scare away predators. The Shaparaks are docile and intelligent, and they will emit pacifying waves with their wing to subdue potential threats. Many Activens believe watching wild Shaparaks can have a soothing effect on an anxious mind. This is monkey lizard. Originally stemming from Kowak, the Akivan monkey lizards are assumed to have been accidentally introduced to the Akivan ecosystem by a careless traveler. The monkey lizard's ability to live off of almost any type of sustenance caused their population to explode, where many of them actively seek out settlements and travelers in the jungle to steal food and valuables off them. This is Jabarak lizard. Jabarak lizards can be found across all of Akiva, even though they tend to prefer living around lakes and larger bodies of water. The Jabarak are excellent swimmers and have 2 sets of eyes, one of which is especially adapted to spotting fish deep under the surface. This is Yaya fly. Yaya flies can be found everywhere on Akiva. While they don't present a threat to most organic beings, their numbers have earned them a reputation of being one of the worst annoyances about Akiva. Yaya flies will arrive in large numbers after rain seasons, which has led to some people catching them as a source of food. Shortly after the Battle of Hoth, Sliro Barsha, leader of the Zerek Besh Syndicate, murders his rivals to consolidate power.
It's time to eat.
Meanwhile, Kay Vess seeks to escape Cantonica to get a fresh start. Desperate, she joins a heist crew led by Denian to rob Sliro's vault. However, the crew secretly works for the Rebel Alliance to rescue their leader, Asara Deyn. Betrayed and left for dead, Kay is forced to flee with a death mark on her head. She steals the Trailblazer ship and crash lands on Tashara.
No. We're okay. We're okay.
On Tashara, Kay meets Waka, a mechanic who is willing to repair the Trailblazer, but Kay has to do jobs for the local syndicates to earn the money to pay for the parts. After salvaging a replacement nav computer, Waka betrays her but is killed by bounty hunter Vail Tormin, who is after Kay's death mark. Kay is then saved by outlaw Jaylen Vrax and his droid enforcer ND5. Jaylen asks for Kay's participation in breaking into Sliro's vault again to steal his fortune, and instructs her to gather necessary crew members to pull off the heist. To assemble a crew, Kay and ND5 travel the galaxy. She rescues safecracker Ank Parako from the Ashiga Clan on Kijimi. On Tatooine, she recruits Hoss. They're heavy, but they and Vail run afoul of Jabba the Hutt. Hoss is killed, forcing Kay and Vail to escape together, forming a reluctant alliance. On Akiva, she enlists droidsmith Gedeek Obaz by helping him hijack the Empire's Viper droid project for the rebels. When ND5 malfunctions, Kay and Gedeek enter an abandoned separatist factory and cross paths with rebel leader Asara Deyn, who joins as their heavy after ND5 is repaired. Jaylen then recruits Riko Vess, an expert slicer and Kay's estranged mother. Along the way, Kay discovers that Sliro is an Imperial Security Bureau director, and that Zerek Besh is a front for the Empire.
Well, this is a surprise. Zerek Besh Syndicate has infiltrated the underworld into the farthest reaches of the galaxy. We are on the verge of uncovering the rebel network.
Zerek Besh has not found a single member of the Rebel Alliance.
That's nonsense. It is the ISB that will win this war. I'm so close. Lord Vader.
Then I suggest you find some rebels.
Ready my ship.
During the heist, Kay is betrayed again, this time by Jaylen, who seeks to take over Zerek Besh. He stuns Kay and takes Asara prisoner. With help from her allies, Kay infiltrates an Imperial Star Destroyer, where Jaylen kills Sliro to avenge their family. Kay frees ND5, who kills Jaylen. They escape with the codex containing Imperial secrets, destroying the Star Destroyer in the process.
Let's get out of here.
Afterward, Asara delivers the codex to the rebellion and the crew parts ways. In a post-credits scene, a disguised Kay helps Riko escape an Imperial prison.